haven't been feeling very brave lately, so I decided to invoke the strength and might of the bravest creatures in all the land. Hobbits! We're making a hobbit door out of air dry clay. It's a trinket dish as well. It doesn't open. Anyway, come make one with me. We'll be brave together. Boom, 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 boom.
Button. For this project, we're going to need some air dry clay. I really like the Das air dry clay, but any air dry clay will do. I just find it's really nice to work with. Some tools. You can use chopsticks or anything you have on hand. A little bit of water. We're going to need a shallow bowl to put our trinket dish in, and we're going to need a circle so that we can cut our shape. For this project, we're also going to use this stuff called slip. I make a heap and I keep it in my fridge so that I always have it, and it's been lasting for ages. So basically, it's just little bits of air dry clay that I put in a tiny little bit of water, and it makes it mushy, and you use it as a bonding agent that goes in between the two pieces of clay you're working with to hold them and secure them better. Air dry clay isn't something you can use in a bathroom or kitchen, for instance. Unless you're sealing it with resin, the water can get into it and make it smushy again, and it'll all be gross. If you're using resin, it still won't be food safe. So air dry clay you can't fire in a kiln, for example. So making trinket dishes out of air dry clay is actually a perfect thing to use it for. The reason I decided to make this hobbit door is because the last few weeks I have not felt brave. And I went into a very dark hole because I haven't been feeling like I am succeeding in creating my art dream life that I've wanted for a really long time. Everything kind of came unstuck. So I turned to my clay and I thought about being brave, and then I thought about Bilbo Baggins because he wasn't very brave, but he stepped out the door and had the most incredible adventure. In order to step out the door, you first need a door, right? So I've made a hobbit door trinket dish. So how's your hobbit door going? That's what I've done so far. Made the circle and all the wood. I need to make the stone that goes around the hobbit door. This is where I'm going to use some aluminium foil to make the rocks a little bit more aged looking. There's lots of things you can use to put texture in clay. I kind of figured that I would need to make it a little bit bigger. So this is where we're going to use our slip. First we're going to score the clay, making crisscross designs in there on each side you want it to stick to, so one side and then the other, and then we're going to put it on the slip. This gives it something to bond to. I'm going to make it go all the way around the outside, and then because I smushed it by turning it over, we're just going to score the lines in again. And then we're going to use another little piece of clay on the top, and these are going to be our stone circle. If you look at any hobbit door, most old stone is very irregular. There are little bits falling down out of it that have slipped a little bit over time. None of these old stones are ever perfect looking. They're all chipped and bits missing. Just want to see if it's going to fit in our shallow bowl. And then we're going to add some embellishments, whatever you want to put on there. I decided I wanted a mushroom rock. I don't know if they exist. I think they should exist. To make little sausages. You can do so many things with little tiny sausages, little thin sausages. They can be hinges, they can be the vines that go around over the door. If you've seen any of my tutorials, you know that I really like leaves. You can use this like a leaf stencil, but it's pretty easy just to carve them out. And you can do lots of things with them that make everything look pretty cool. So the thing we need to do now is we need to lay it into our shallow bowl, and that is going to make the nice curve in the bottom of our trinket dish. You don't need to press it in because over time the weight will make it kind of fall in naturally. And just tidy up those little loose ends. It's been really cold here, so if it's warmer where you are, it might dry quicker. You'll see on top of the trinket dish is dry, but underneath it's not dry yet. That's actually perfect time to flip it over and put the little feet on the bottom. If you don't get a chance to do this, it's totally fine, but it just makes it look a little bit cooler and brings it off the table a bit, I think. So we're going to make 4 little feet. I'm going to do the same as we did before. To make them stick properly, we're going to score the dish. We're going to score the bottom of the feet. We're going to add them with slip. I do like to get a little bit of clay and put around the bottom so that you can't see the join, and I feel that gives it a little bit more security. I'm going to let it dry a little bit more until it's dry all the way through. Then we paint it. You can paint this with a layer of gesso or white paint, but I just like covering it with a thin layer of watered down black paint, and this way that gets into all the nooks and crannies. And then if you use a colour over the top of it, you can do like a dry brushing technique so that all the black stays in the cracks and you put the different colour over the top of it on the diagonal. So you're trying to avoid it going into the cracks and you're just kind of like layering the paint along the top. There is always a point where you cannot see what I'm doing exactly. So we have reached that point now. I'm going to do the same with the grey around the rocks. And then we're going to add a little bit of green to the brown, and that'll be for the vine. I think that being brave these days sometimes is just about stepping out the door. Sometimes is about just getting off the couch. Sometimes is about one decision that leads to another, that leads to another. Sometimes it doesn't need to be the big grand gestures, fixing it all in one day. Sometimes it's the small little steps that get you to where you want to be. So the first thing I needed to do was to do something that made me feel better. And to make me feel better is sometimes making things for other people. So if you're feeling a little bit like that, not feeling very brave, feeling a bit scared by all the things life's throwing at you and not knowing how to fix anything, just take one step. Just do one good thing for yourself. You will begin to feel brave. Just do one good thing for yourself. Take one little step. Make a door. Then walk out of it. And each step you take, you'll feel braver and braver. Because I'm not giving up on this dream, and I hope whatever yours is, you aren't either. Be gentle with yourself, little adventurer. I believe in you. Have the most wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.